All systems go. Cleared for takeoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another Friday edition of our NBA show here on the Mayo Media Network. Got my guy Hamwich with me as always. We'll bring him in here in a minute. But before we do, want to remind you very quickly, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel on the way in. And if you haven't subscribed to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube station already, go over there now at SHIPIT Nation. We hit the tour for 4 is over. We gave away the 6-month membership yesterday to SHIPITNation.com. Now it's the drive for 5. So trying to get to 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year, maybe faster if we can. We appreciate all your support, everybody watching. Again, hammer that like on the way in. We got a 7-game slate. We're going to get to everything. There's some injury news, but not as much as you think. There's some guys in the chat. I already see our guy SHIPIT out there, so it doesn't look like too much injury news thus far, except for SGA. Going to be interesting, so we'll talk about that when we get there. Shout out to Bowl, was first one in, so we appreciate Bowl 800S. He's a member over at SHIPIT Nation. It's been an incredible last couple of weeks, right? It's just been wild over here, everything we've been doing. We'll get to this. Vooch with no Levine is probable, so we'll get to that. But there's lots to cover. We'll go game by game. We'll open it back up. You guys know how I do it on Fridays. If you appreciate it, do me that favor and hit the like button, because we will share screen. We will get our projections up on the board. I know everybody likes that. Still early. We'll have some updates, but definitely can start showing it off. Speaking of showing it off, Ham, before I bring you in, man, look at this from last night. This guy, Rome, J. John 2, actually, on his DraftKings handle, turns $30 into $89K. He put in 2 lineups. He said, shout out to SHIPIT Nation, ToeTagginTambo, myself, the PME, Mayo, our guy, and it says the community stays hot. That's the second time in less than a week, because our guy JB1515 said, call me Roy King. He turned 18 into 80K, DFS juice here, when he put the same lineup in twice in the main $9 on FanDuel last week. So we just had a ton of hits recently. We've had a lot of good stuff going on. I'll bring you back in, Mr. Ham. How are we doing on this Friday afternoon, my friend? What's going on?
Yeah, we're doing great. It's going to be an interesting slate. Like you said, we got SGA that we know is confirmed out. We got some other pieces that we're waiting on, not too many, but hopefully we can keep it going. And don't short sell yourself, Tambo. You won that $100,000 last Sunday too. So we're rocking and rolling over here at SHIPIT Nation. Hopefully you'll join us if you're not already a member.
You wanted to see it just to know it's real? You want me to show it? All right, there you go, Ham. You got it, buddy. 100K last Sunday. If you guys want to join and get on the action, there is a promo code MAYO. Gets you 10% off any membership you want to try out. It includes everything, all the sports, the content, the projections, the tools, everything, access to the members-only community where we have it broken down by sports in channels, where if you're in the NBA channel and you only want NBA updates, you only get NBA updates. So that's part of it. The only thing that's not included is what we're going to share screen here shortly, which is the Solver, our partner for the optimizer. But keep in mind, it's very cheap when you buy them both together. If you do want an optimizer, want to use that, it says optional on the site. We keep our price down so that you can pay less for content and play more contests. In the end, it only takes, I'm seeing now, Ham, it only takes $18 to win 80K. So if you are, anybody knows the joke from last night, if you're in a crane, you're in good shape. If you're putting in exactly $18 to $39, you're in good shape. So you're in the right spot. We're going to help you guys get through it. Lots of good people in the chat. Our guy Sean says, Chet about to smash tonight. I know Ham likes that one. We'll get there. And then Ross reminds us, the exciting, the most advertised, marketed thing that nobody knows anything about still. It does. It's true. The in-season tournament starts today. The round-robin games that will eventually lead to the semifinals, to a finals game in Vegas that doesn't even count on the record. So 2 teams will play 83 games. It's just a interesting thing. I think it's good. I think it is cool that it kind of like hooks up the bench players, and it's big money for some of the guys down the board. I saw Lillard was talking about it today or yesterday, saying how he didn't quite realize it fully of that. Again, shows how little people know about it, even the guys playing in it. But he said that it was kind of cool and he wants to hook his boys up, because obviously $500K is not going to be life-changing for a guy like Damian Lillard, but winning the first ever, maybe it's special for them. Any first thoughts, first overview that you've got for this slate, Ham? How are you seeing it break out? It's 7 games, so it's kind of that sweet spot that we're always looking for.
Yeah, the thing that caught my attention was that, we don't have, the 240 total, like we had the other night in the Hawks Washington game. I mean, all the totals are hovering right around 220 to 225, 226. And so we have a bunch of teams that play fast going up against a bunch of teams that typically don't play as fast. So we're going to try to talk through it, see which of these teams that play fast can speed up their opponent, get them to play fast as well. So yeah, I'm ready to dive in and talk it out, and let's have another shipper tonight.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. And I think it might be a late night hammer night too, just so you do have to stick around to the end because there's definitely a possibility for that. Shut Up to Dustin said here, love this. I'm here for it all. How do I get the promo stuff, the Primo stuff? Primo stuff with the promo. How about that one? You can go over here, our site, shipitnation.com. You just click join the nation. Testimonials are there if you want to check it out, but we keep it very easy to understand. It's $69 a month. It's $59 a month via paying for 6 months in advance, or $49 a month via paying for $5.99 in advance. But you can get 10% off any of these just by going in to join now for whatever one you choose. Drop down to have a coupon. Type in our guy's last name, Mr. Pat Mayo. You put in Mayo. It'll give you 10% off, and you can see that there. Go back. If you want to check it all out, you can do that yourself. You can check out everything that we offer. All of our shows are free. You can check out everything under the other categories. For NBA, really cool tools around the corner. We will have the ceiling rankings and the correlation sheet. Those wondering why it takes some time, it's just because you need data. You need good stuff to make these be good in is good out, and that's what we're trying to always bring you guys. If you want something like to get familiar with it, the stack rankings have been absolutely crushing for NFL. We do a little preview of those on Sunday, which will be back on this channel, 9:45 a.m. Eastern, where you guys can check those out. So remember, it's always free to go check out the site. And if you don't want to sign up today, the testimonials don't put you over the edge. The code Mayo doesn't do it for you. You can sign up. Just put your email in and click sign up. Any special offers, exclusive announcement, contests, and more that we have, you guys will see it. We'll bring it to you there. Let's hop over. Let's go to our partner, The Solver. I should show it actually quick. If you go here, you go to The Solver. It opens up here. I went to F1. I apologize. Go back to Optimizer. It'll show you this here. You can sign up for $34.99 for just NBA. If you want 6 months, you can pair it up. You pay $2.99 basically for 6 months with The Solver. You'll get all the sports. And then you pair it up with our site and go back here to join the nation. You get this one for $323 right now. It works out to like $93 a month or something that you can end up getting both for. So much cheaper than the market is charging. But let's dive in, Ham. That's enough marketing. We'll get to it. Let's go through it here. We're going to start with Cleveland, Indy. This game does have the Q tags that we're probably most unsure about, but Halliburton's kind of the only one I'm wondering on still. Garland and Allen for Cleveland both did go through the Friday shoot-around. So we'll see how it all shakes out. I'm going to take it over a notch just so people can see. We'll rate it by value. And you'll see here, this game, not a lot of value. And we'll see it probably gets tougher if these guys all do play as well. But give me a thought here, Hamwich. First thoughts on this game, Cleveland, Indy. What do you got?
Yeah, obviously we got to see what Allen and what Garland are doing. I think if, this is one of those teams, the Pacers, up and pace kind of team. They're up and down. They're back at home. Where I saw them play the first night against Washington, they looked very good. I mean, obviously Washington's not a very good team. That's probably why they look good. But if Garland and Allen are still out, I kind of like Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he is going to be the one that's going to be up and down. He's going to be shooting it 20 plus times a game. I don't mind Donovan Mitchell if he sits. And then also want to talk about the guy, TJ McConnell. All right. So the very important about Tyrese Halliburton. What's Tyrese Halliburton going to do? If he sits, I think you have to have some McConnell based on his price, $5,200 on DraftKings, 28 minutes last time out, and this guy scored 36 points. So I think TJ McConnell's in play. Should Halliburton sit? I think Donovan Mitchell is a really good play. If Garland is out. Even if Garland is in, who's coming back from an injury, I still like Mitchell not quite as much. I see Mobley, however you say his name, projects or value well. I'm not as high on him as I would be on some of these other guys, though.
It's not much. And I think, again, even though there's, news and some news that people like, again, for example, Denver right now, if you go on your DraftKings app, you're going to see Jokic, Murray, Braun, all these guys Q-tag, but they're all probable. So little things like that Butler, probable in the Miami game, all this stuff. But I do think some people will skip this game. It's not showing up well in most of the projections around the industry, including ours. it's also, again, you're taking risks on stuff unless we get Halliburton out. But it looks, again, I don't know what will happen. Allen and Garland could still play. We'll have to wait. It gets popular if those guys go out. And our guy has it here. Jack Hoff says, the best name, by the way, he got us. If this, then that, gang. He remembers. He comes in here all the time. So we know who you are. We like the nickname. Shout out to Theo. What's up, boys? My birthday. Chilling with you guys. Ready to ship tonight. Dustin's in already. Someone said he got a Ferrari. He's good. Well, he just got subscribed to ShipItNation.com, the Ferrari of the DFS content industry, maybe, right? That might be a thing, but the difference is, actually, that's good. I was going to bring up this analogy, Ham. Other sites, people say, oh, this site's better. It's been around longer. It's got all this. It's like the Ferrari. You're like the, the Ford Taurus or something. Like, you're the brand new site. That's fine. But remember, if most 99 out of 100 people that get a Ferrari dropped in front of them have to actually be taught how to go and drive it. That's the problem. So even if you think someone has something better, all this, we've got that type of stuff cheaper, and we got people to actually help you learn how to drive it. That's what we're all about at Ship It Nation. You're actually going to get resources to be able to build your own process, start winning for yourself, stop following other people's picks and plays. So that's kind of the idea behind that. And then somebody else said something else I was going to bring up here too, but I'll find it in the end. Shout out to Theo, though. Happy birthday to him. Definitely appreciate it. Oh, it's here. Andrew, when y'all fellas get to that OKC game, how many guys are you starting in a lineup together? So we'll get to that, definitely covering that as we go throughout. We're the Hyundai, Ross says. I like it. Yeah, there's lots of cars that you could compare us to, but don't matter, man. It's not what car you're in. It's who wins cross the line. We can do it right. We can help you guys learn, get better at the game. That's what it's all about. The community, everyone can speak for themselves, know what it is. In the Discord, great people, a ton of people, similar like-minded individuals, all the same goals and mindsets. We keep saying it, but it's the truth, and that's how you're seeing people have those wins. People say, oh, but only Hoop and you and others win. No, our team wins, but so do others. And almost every time we're winning, others are coming along with it. So I love to see that. Not much else in this game for me here, though, Ham. We can move on. Let's go to this next one. The first big value pop for us on the night that we're going to talk about here is Giannis. Very affordable at 10.8K. We are going to have some value throughout this slate to make him fit. What's interesting, though, is when you run some of the optimals early, you are seeing more of those mid-tier value guys get put in, and his ownership doesn't show as high as what you might expect. So talk to me a little bit about this one, where you're at with Giannis, and then the rest of this game. So some other options here. I think the only news we're waiting on is RJ Barrett, and I thought I saw with him, too, that he was going to be probable as well. Let me see him.
Yeah, real quick, let me give a birthday shout-out to my guy, Theo. Theo, my birthday as well. If you're not a member, shoot me an email, hamwich8dfs@gmail.com. I want to take care of you on your birthday, sharing the same birthday. That's awesome. But
birthday boys, love to see it.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Ham, too.
Yeah, they appreciate it. Yeah. So Giannis, Tambo, I'm not gonna play him tonight. I'm not a fan of his yet. I mean, I know he obviously has 60, 70, 80 point upside on his ceiling, but looking at his minutes so far, 28, 32, 29, 35. These are close games as well. And he's just not playing the minutes early in the season. I don't know, if coach is not ramping him up, but he's as high as 50 on the year in DK at 10.8. You're gonna need 60 to be on the winner. Like we talked about last Friday with Sabonis. I think you're going to need to get 60 from him. And even if he gets 60, is he going to be on the winner? I think there's other options there. So I'm out on Giannis. Chris Middleton, he's not playing at all this year. I'm not a fan of this Milwaukee team. I mean, I think Dame possibly, but 9.4 is a hefty price to pay for him. He's going to have to get 50, 60 as well. So no real interest in them. And then the only one that I would have interest in on the Knicks, and especially if RJ Barrett is out, is Quickly. I mean, Quickly's a walking bucket. 5,700 tonight, coming off a 34 DraftKings points performance the other night. I really like Quickly, especially if RJ Barrett's out. I want to get some Quickly in my lineups, but that's kind of the extent of where I'm going in this game.
Yeah, less small talk, more slate talk. That's our other motto. We like to get to it. We throw it in there though a little bit. We've been getting a little bit off on that, but we're trying to do as much as possible for you guys. One cool feature actually the solver just added was getting these game logs in there. I thought that was nice. I always like to have quick access to it. So again, if you guys are a member at Ship It Nation and you join with our link over to the solver, it does auto sync. So just to bring that up quickly, it tells you here it'll come preloaded with our player projections for these sports. Also for PGA and MMA, we have to get them to update that because these were sort of additions afterwards. But obviously on our site, you also get PGA projections, MMA projections, and they've got everything in there. So like for this week, if you go to PGA, I think I'm logged in, so you'll see it here. All set up, pretty easy to use. There's a legend. It'll have the last projections update. The tournament started the morning after or whatever. So this was the last night right beforehand. We had all the ownership in there, the projections, the price, the names. You can put your own CSV. You can copy them to your own optimizer, or you can join the solver and get it preloaded and have it update for you automatically. So that was just another note. And then they added this game log feature. I was showing some comments up there while you were talking, but Sean is with you. He said those minutes for Giannis are scary at that price tag. And then I love our guy, I think it's Ryan Shepard, but Shepard is in the chat. He won huge a couple weeks ago. And we tagged hashtag SHIPIT is his new coin phrase here. And he says, oh, hey, it's me, your cousin. Also same birthday. So Ham, you sending him money too? We sent a note to all these people. Just say it's your birthday and Ham got you.
Money. I just said we'll give him something over here at Shipping Nation. Whether if they're not a member yet, we'll want to make sure we get them into the nation. So happy birthday, Shep. Let's go three-headed monster and let's ship this baby.
It's definitely possible. And two, I want Dustin to know, he just joined and we talked about, like, again, we do put like a guideline up. Like if you wanted to know the 5 guys that I'm on and one of my main lineups, sure. Hebrew Cheetah, Nades, Ham does it for FanDuel. That's part of it. Title does it for cash. I won't pull all of them up right now. The slate plan is our guy, Hebrew Cheetah. He plays Rio. He was in the live final with me last year. All incredibly good at what they're doing, but the tools will come out. The main thing you're here for, though, is the projections. That's what we're showing you guys off this right now. These are what you're setting up for. We've got both DraftKings and FanDuel. You can filter and sort them right on the site if you don't have an optimizer. And then last to your other question, early, we usually put it up at least an hour and a half before lock, depending on the slate. If there's a bunch of news, probably going to be closer to lock, but it's for good reason. It's for your purposes. But we don't do this last minute thing. If there is any changes last minute, we let you know in the Discord. But for the most part, all of our content, all sports, we take pride in having it up early so you guys have access to it as quickly as possible. I don't have much else in this game, Ham. Like I said, I'll see where we land on this stuff. We will wait because Barrett wasn't listed as probable. It was somebody else I was thinking of. He still is listed as questionable. Obviously, Hart and Quickly are the 2 that are likely to get a bump if we see it beyond the other guys. But I mean, for sure, from the guys down low that you're seeing right now come in at negative values, you'll definitely have that possibility. So we'll look at that when we get there later. Let's move on. Go ahead.
Quick, what's your take on Giannis? Are you in on Giannis at 10-8, or what's your take on Giannis?
If others are out, I'm in always pretty much. But I think again, like this is scary. But on a 7-game slate at that value, if the ownership is going to be less, it's fine. I do have a guy, a pay up option later that I've got a little bit more interest in though. So I'm just not sure how much I'll get of him. But I'm definitely saying like if this ownership held true, then I would have interest. Anytime somebody's projecting like this, that's what someone say, like when I say trust the projections, it doesn't mean you just have to play them because it says it. But if there's a spot and it makes sense and you build your lineup, so like for example, if we get Barrett out and Quickly pops in or Hart pops in, maybe you get a little mini stack within this game or something because now you have some savings that can also use a guy that's part of that game to make it work. So I'm just looking at it from that perspective. Right now, we don't have enough. That's why we're fine to show it off. Going to the next game, though, Brooklyn, Chicago, Levine is a guy that is listed as probable. So it's expected that he's going to play. He projects well. I pinpointed it in the Discord last week when he had the big game. I even texted to Hoop. He was at the game. It was in Detroit. Hoop said, I'm going to the game. The missus, it's her birthday. Speaking of birthdays, I said, and tell her I said happy birthday, and you guys have fun enjoying Zach LaVine finally breaking a slate after everybody hates him, and he's been Q-tag all day. And sure enough, that was that. Had a decent day, not a good enough day to pay it off for what I wanted to for the prediction, but still a solid day. Got some tickets, things like that. 59.5. Since then, he's got the minutes. The shots, hit or miss, right? With the shots, it's pretty standard here, not taking as many as that game, but just in general, looking across the board, 32, 30, 59. So what's your take on Levine? And then who are some of the other guys? I know the chat asked earlier about Vooch, but they were asking in the perspective of if Levine is out, then Vooch, but it looks like Levine's going to be in. So your thoughts on this game? Yeah,
it looks like Levine is going to be in, and I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal, but I saw right before we came on, and I can't pronounce his name, but Ayo the Dosunmu, I don't even know how you say that last name. He's doubtful now. I mean, he's playing about 15 minutes a night, so it's not going to be too much, but just something to keep an eye on. Those 15 minutes have to go somewhere. Zach LaVine, I don't mind $7,400. I mean, he's he has upside for sure. 59 the other night when Hoop saw him in action. He's going to shoot it a bunch. Vooch, I'm gonna be off Vooch at 7,500 at that price. Outside of that, This game is a cross off for me. I mean, these Brooklyn Nets play too many guys, and no one's really popping when it comes to value. So I would take a look at LaVine, and I think that's going to kind of be the extent that I'm going at in this game. What about you?
I just want to see how this ownership actually comes in too, because this would be another spot where using projections with some leverage and stuff like that we talk about where you can break it down is like if DeRozan came in way under way under LaVine, when we get close to it, he's $100 less. Small forward, it's small forward, power forward versus shooting guard, small forward. But if you look too, 52, 34, 32, 31, like pretty close. It's a floor ceiling type, like 33 here. So it's like if you can get that 33 with the upside of the 50, and if he pulls from LaVine, if LaVine's once he's ruled in, if everyone jumps over to him at 74 because projections are pushing it there, if you saw a bigger delta here right now, it actually shows the ownership the other way, but that's always that way when there's a Q tag associated with it. It's been a little while. So on next ownership update, I'd like to see where that goes. That would be sort of the look here. It's really muddied now on the Brooklyn side just because Dinwiddie announced way earlier today, but that he was going to play. It was announced that he was going to play. So the idea is, Cam Thomas took a million shots the other night, but we had different injuries and stuff going on. So maybe he can bounce back, but now price tag 7,200. Simmons left the game, came back. Like, I don't know. Do you have any other Brooklyn takes within this game or anybody else you wanted to add on to there?
I don't mind Cam Thomas. I mean, Cam's going to shoot it regardless of who's in the lineup, right? So, I mean, Dinwiddie played a couple games earlier. I mean, he shot it 25 or 21 times, 19, 17, and 19. What I like, talking about if people aren't gonna play him, Cam Thomas, 4 of 19 the other night. So he's an NBA professional basketball player. If he goes 11 of 19, he breaks the slate. He had an off night coming back home. I think he's at home or if he's on the road. But if he hits, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those shots that he missed the other night, he goes from, everybody being off of him to now everybody wants to play him again, kind of like Zach LaVine when he goes 4 of 19. So I don't mind Cam Thomas. The price is steep, but for a guy that's going to shoot it, let's call it 16 plus times and play 30 plus minutes, I think I'm going to have him even at 7,200.
Yeah. Address this now. First off, you're here, so thank you for supporting. Second of all, we're a brand new company. We're 6 months in. We do not care. Third of all, it still gets done in time. We barely talk about other shit at all. We break it all down. It's all stuff that can help you and is helping others get better at DFS. Would you rather I sit here and talk about Manscaped for 20 minutes, or would you rather hear about stuff that is actually helping people win life-changing money? That's the part of it that you have to remember. And like I said, we still get the job done. We get it done in plenty of time. There's lots of stuff that you can check out other shows. But in the end of the day, think about when DraftKings FanDuel came out, it was every other commercial on your TV. It's a company. We're still starting a business. We're trying to help people. That's what you're going to find here. So if you don't like it, that's okay. Like they say, hit the like or take a hike. Does not matter to me. Again, we know we're helping people. It's awesome. I'm having fun with it. Back to this, though, like I said, the one thing I will say is the Cam Thomas piece, like you said, he might not care either. This guy, just like you said, chucking shots no matter who's in the lineup. And again, you can get a ceiling out of it, right, at this price tag. So I liked what our guy said earlier, too, about DeMar, right? Going back to him there, like his bad games shooting, he's still putting up 33. If he gets hot with the shot and others are playing LaVine at the same price, definitely think that. And yeah, thanks to our guy, Aaron. Appreciate it, man. We're always doing these. And that's the other thing. It's free shows. Every show we do is free. So that's the part of it too. Like I laugh at all that stuff. It does not matter to me. We could bring in ads and sponsors and all this other stuff, or we can just tell you about our own stuff. So definitely like that. What's your take on this one? Walker
Yeah, that's Lonnie Walker. I mean, he obviously takes a hit with Dinwiddie in the lineup, and with Dinwiddie playing, I think Walker's minutes are going to be limited. I haven't really looked at him that hard yet, but I would probably be off Lonnie Walker, especially if they have their full complement of players, including Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah, I agree. I think the same there. I do have a little bit of a tournament interest. That's another good thing too. I always forgot to mention this because we only did the one show together last week, but just talking about it a little bit is that both of us are pretty much tournament players, except I'm in NBA. I'm playing a lot more 3 to 5 max. Like I like that with NBA. I'm usually playing the higher dollar queues or trying to satellite in to the higher dollar queue. So I'm only needing like maybe 1 to 2 little things to flip the slate a little bit different. If everybody is on, let's say, tonight, if everybody was on Giannis, I might play Jokic. I might still do this. I'm just saying, usually it's a spot like that where you can flip the build some and you're not really playing bad plays or bad projections. You're just flipping what you're doing and using some game theory and leverage within your builds. But just so people know, like I showed earlier, Ham does our FanDuel core report. He also specializes in FanDuel. So he'll find some plays on that site, but also his perspective. And that's how I won the 100K in NFL last week, was basically using your entire slate plan. It was all right in there, using tournament plays to put in with a, sort of some of the good plays in there too, kind of like a cash hybrid tournament build. So definitely think that's the best way to do it. And so finding someone where you're like, yeah, I just don't trust it. They've got a full squad back, all of that, agreed. But to Ham's point, he's willing to take on the risk a little more so when you got the guy chucking up 29, 21, 19, 17, 19. Like 4 for 19 is so bad that it's tough to imagine happening again. And he still got to 24. That's not going to cut it at this price tag. We'll need more, but we'll need him to make those shots. You're willing to take on the risk. Anything else you want to add there? If not, take us into this next game, Golden State, OKC. This is the one people want to chat about. Chet, I saw a legendary game mentioned earlier. Giddey's obviously in a good spot. To note it for those that don't know, SGA is obviously out. So you've got usage. Their highest usage guy is now not going to be playing. So, but Giddey's price tag is there. Chet's up a little bit, but I think, Chet definitely can do it. We've seen it a couple games here now. What's your thoughts on this game? OKC, Golden State in OKC.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that surprisingly, and I know it's early in the season, but Golden State is playing a lot slower than what we're used to. So, we're used to, seeing the Warriors up and down and shooting threes and splashing threes and doing all that stuff. They're one of the slowest paced teams so far. That will probably trend up. They got Draymond back. They obviously have the Splash Brothers still. It's going to be a popular game. And Chet Holmgren, I was watching that Pelican game the other night. He looks really good. He can do it all: rebounds, block shots, assist, obviously score, and that stuff adds up. And he is showing great value tonight on DraftKings. His ownership right now is at 6%. Tambo, I think that's a little off myself. I think that's going to be closer, higher teens, if not higher. But because I think a lot of people are going to want to go there, especially with no SGA. I really like Chet Holmgren tonight at that price, 7,600 for those folks playing on FanDuel. He is a little bit more expensive over there on FanDuel. So I don't have as much interest as I do on DraftKings. He is 8,000 over there on FanDuel, but he's a great play tonight. Really like Chet Holmgren getting extra shots up. Josh Giddey's a little bit too expensive for me. Another guy I want to talk about, and I mentioned him a minute ago, Draymond Green. Really like Draymond Green tonight, $6,200. His minutes are ramping up. Played 28 last game, 22 his first game. If he can get into the 30s, Tambo, he's that guy that's going to get 8 rebounds, 9 assists, couple steals, couple blocks. If he bangs in a few threes, all of a sudden you're at 45, 50 points. So my two most favorite plays tonight are going to be Draymond and Chet from this game.
Yeah, I like that. You could set it up just like a little mini combo there too, right? And you go look at it here, the minutes limit, he's still been putting up points. 37, go back by date here. 37, 26, 44. Like there's definitely been points to there, 25 and a half. If he gets the minutes bump, he fits in. He's outside of our value range, but I don't know if they have it on here. But that's min-max percentage. But I think, just to double check, let's see if we go green. You guys can't see this. I'll pull it back up. I apologize. But yeah, our last projections update, pretty close to solver right now. We pushed it. But if you see Draymond Green, you could just type in to the projections and so we've got him right now projected for 30 minutes tonight. And again, that can change. There's going to be more updates throughout, but just to say, and then his ownership's 10 to 10.9. So we'll see where he ends up at the end of the night, but I definitely think that's something to keep an eye on. So he makes sense. Like Giddey's expensive, but if Chet gets super popular here, it's two different positions. I'm just saying, if you're playing only one of them, is it a spot for you where you could go to Giddey and just pay up for probability? Like he can't get ownership at this price tag. You just can't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't think I'll personally get there, not on my main team anyway. I mean, that's a big boy price tag for somebody that to me is going to cap out, high 30s, low 40s. I mean, could he have a ceiling game and get into the 50s? Yeah, but I just don't see it with Giddey. I think Chet can do a little bit more than he can from some of those, supplementary categories, the steals, the blocks, the rebounds type things. So give me Holmgren. And look, once again, I'm not going to be, stacking numerous folks from this game just for the simple fact that it's going to be slower paced than I think most people hope and envision. So I do want a piece of it because it does have one of the highest totals. But I will not be, having more than, I would say, 3 people from this game on my team.
Yeah, you got Jalen there. That's what I just saw that. I caught that. So I scrolled down to show you. And then someone asked about Isaiah Joe. I mean, like Dort could put up a few more shots tonight. It is possible. These guys, again, this is where I trust the projections a little bit more. I just think there's other plays on the slate. These guys are just way down the board, and there's nothing else really that's going to change it. But if you wanted to try and leverage up the dudes at the top, I just don't see any reason to. Like, it's not like these guys are super popular up there. So for me, not really something that I'm seeing in the difference. So anything else on this one that you wanted to talk about, Ham? If not, we can move on to Washington and Miami.
Just, I think with Dort, like, he may get a few more shots, but he's not in there for his offensive prowess. Like, I mean,
no, FanDuel though. What about on FanDuel?
Yeah, I mean, I just think you're like hoping and like hoping he makes a couple 3-pointers that he's normally not going to make. I mean, he might get a few more minutes, but he's in there to guard the best player on the other team. I'm not going to have Lou Dort. He won't even be in my player pool.
And then I said we would answer this earlier, but I'll get your thoughts first. How many Thunder is too much? Like, even if you wanted to stack this spot up, you think 3?
I think you could go 3. I personally won't have more than 3 from this total game, which I really like Draymond. I really like Chet. So maybe one more OKC, but I don't know their exact rotation and kind of who's going to be picking up those 38 minutes from SGA. I mean, obviously there's 20 shots to go around in 38 minutes. Somebody's going to get those. We just got to figure out who that's going to be. That's what I'll be doing after the show.
And what about Chet and Jalen Williams together?
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. I think they complement one another. Like I said, I think you can get so many points just based on they both get rebounds. Chet's going to block some shots, get you some assists. They're both can score some points. I don't mind them together. And I mean, I don't even mind Giddey and Chet or Giddey and Williams together. I don't think I'd play all 3. I don't think you can play all 3, but from a price perspective. But I don't mind 2 of those 3 for sure.
Yeah, you put them all in, it gets down there. But I mean, you have 5,500 average. I'm sure people could get to it. Like, you plug this in as your starting piece, I think you'll be unique. Even if, again, they pick up a little steam down the stretch, if this game goes off, I wouldn't hate it. And the price constraints, I mean, the reason this gets tough is when you add in the 8.4K. But for the original question, when you've got a 6.5 and a 7.6K, you almost just call them a little combo pack, like I like to talk about, on the same squad, where you're able to get there. I don't see it as like one's going to crush the other, because with the injuries and stuff like that, I just see it where they could definitely go in and be fine together. I'm actually not against that. Is it a bad idea to play Williams and Chet? I think that's fine. We just talked about that. I think they'll get a lot going back. Yeah, we already talked about that. We're good on one.
Who's your favorite Warrior? I mean, I know we had an implosion game last week out of Steph. Are we going back?
If going there, I would be with you on the Draymond one, just because, again, it looks like those minutes are going to come around for him. So you can always play Curry. Again, this is another one too where people will be confused by, but he projects so bad. It's again, you're taking a shot knowing that you're playing a guy that can get out there and put up a 61 or a 57.5 or something like that on just a 7-game slate where we don't have a bunch of studs. Like, it's Giannis, Curry, Jokic. There's probably a couple others that I'm forgetting, but like mostly mid-tier guys. So it's like, again, like I mentioned to you earlier too, the early optimals that it's spitting out right now are more of a balanced build where you get more of those mid-tier guys that have 40 to 50 upside versus the guys that can put up the 60s or 70s and break the slate. So it's like, that's where you can get unique with your build too, just in 2 spots to be able to fit a stud in. But for me, it would be these 2. It'd be Green and Curry. Don't really have anything else. And our guy, not saying the name again, but Wiggins, first basket for the D-Gens, he says.
We'll call him Mr. Cough.
JC is the new nickname I'm giving him. So this one here, we've got Washington, Miami. Mentioned earlier the Butler stuff that we were waiting on. I believe he was the one I was thinking of that was listed as probably he was when I mentioned it earlier. So yeah, it looks like some thoughts to be had here. Maybe people be looking at this one from a blowout perspective. I don't know, but give me your thoughts on this game here. We've got Washington and Miami.
Yeah, this is one of the games that I was talking about earlier where we got a team in Washington that wants to run up and down. They're obviously not going to play any defense versus a team that's more methodical and wants to slow it down, one of the slower paced teams. As you can see here, I'm assuming you're showing it. Josh Richardson pops as it relates to value in at 4K. Is someone out for the Heat that I'm not aware of? It looks like Jimmy Butler's questionable going to play, but I mean, if Josh Richardson is going to play, the projected minutes, is someone out for the Heat, Tambo, that that is,
actually, no, because I thought the other thing was Love is coming back tonight, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah, looks like we got Love in. Yeah, so I mean, I don't love Richardson if Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin. Yeah. That's what it
Caleb
was.
Martin is still out.
He was already announced out. I was thinking just off the Q tag with Jimmy Butler. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think he's played. I don't think Martin's played all season. But I mean, at 4K, I mean, just talking about a little bit of Cam Thomas the other night. Josh Richardson 1 of 9, right? So if he's 4 of 9, he goes from 15 points maybe up to 25, 30 at 4K price tag. I don't think that's terrible. If Richardson's starting, I don't mind him at 4K. I actually think that's a very good play at 4K to try to get up to some of the Giannis's, the Jokic's, whoever it may be, your higher price guys. So I don't mind Jay Rich for them. And then on the other side, he's expensive, but man, Kyle Kuzma has just been launching this year. 21 shot attempts in only 25 minutes last game. He can rebound, he can assist. I like Kyle Kuzma a little bit. Another guy I want to talk about is it's off to a slow start, but he's not afraid to jack, and we know he can score from his days with the Warriors. But Jordan Poole, what is he, 7,700, I believe, and he's showing bad value, but he's a guy, Tambo, that can get 35, 40 points if he gets going. I mean, the question is he going to get going against his Heat team that's historically pretty good on defense? So to sum that all up, give me Josh Richardson at 4K, assuming he's starting, and then Kyle Kuzma on the other side would kind of be the extent of it. Bam Adebayo, I think it was Hebrew that was talking trash about Bam the other night and saying that Hoop doesn't like him, and he goes out and gets like a 60 burger. So.
Yeah, it happens. That'll happen to you. But I've been on the wrong side of that a few times now. What about Love, though, coming back? If he's fine and healthy and gets back into that 24 type minute range, he had a couple good games there like that, and he's 4,300. And you go up to same team, different positions, but Richardson at 4K. If you want to use a Miami guy, similar price point, different position, switch the build a little bit. Love coming back. Again, doesn't project well here right now, but we'll see how the projections update depending on how the lineup looks. It could be another spot to go back to. I don't hate your Kuzma call, right? You mentioned him, 21, 23, 23. Even on low minutes, the guy's still putting up good scores. And then you're looking at it like 32 has been the floor where 3 of the 4 games over 44 in his last 5, and he's just 7,800. It's tough to get there, like the chat said on Poole. Man, it's like just even if you do have him jacking him up, it is pretty tough. So that one makes it a little hard for me to get after as well. Before I keep going, I do want to bring up Jason's comment back to our guy. Let him know a little more marketing for him. Won't be around till 9 p.m. Might have to go for late slate showdown, but I thought of this when you mentioned Hebrew. Our guy Hebrew Cheetah does take over, and he's in the Discord all night updating you on everything else, but he does showdown only. So if you're not playing the main slate, you have family, kids, things like that, even with core reports and projections and all that, just the no time to do it, he does have you covered for that. And you can just go here, NBA Showdown. We've got the projections, whole separate page for it. And then the core report, date, who's doing it, the site, it's always Hebrew. But tonight, the feature game on DraftKings is Dallas and Denver. He gives you 3 cores to base off of. He talks about his own captain exposures. He puts his notes on why he's playing whatever at the captain. And he's like Hamwich. This guy plays to win. He's not playing to cash. He gives you ideas that if you were building like a cash game lineup, you could do this, but he's playing to win the tournament, as you should be. And I say that because not everybody on every site is. And then he gives you his exposures in the flex and writes up a little mini slate plan of why he's doing what he is and pivot plays and things like that you can do. So it can give you a real good edge in those. There is huge tournaments in the evening on DraftKings. Like tonight, I think that one tournament for this game is 30K to first. Even when it gets chopped up, you're talking, 1,800, 2,500. It's not the worst. You can throw in 3 lineups and feel pretty good about it. Just throw them in and have some fun with it. And then also there is huge satellites and qualifiers, like the $29 to the mega 2,500. That's what I've been playing every night and doing well so far. Just playing 3 in the $29, 3 in the $15, 3 lineups. Use my guy Hebrew's stuff. He's dialed into it. Some of the knowledge I have of my own of just going through the overall slate and putting it together. It's a great thing to have on the site. So definitely love that. Michael reminded me I missed a stud. Yeah, it's probably why I forgot about Luka. He's coming up in this next game. 13K, just insane, right? But you never know. It's Luka. Anything could happen. And I want to answer Michael's question too. Your thoughts here, Ham. Is Hero overpriced up to 8,100 here? Any thought about that?
Yeah, I was just going to get to that. And also going to say Hebrew stuff is phenomenal. And between you and Hebrew, I don't think y'all sleep 6 hours a night, but y'all are always in Discord responding to people. I'll wake up the next morning. Hebrew's in there at 1 or 2 in the morning talking, and then you pick it up at like 4 in the morning. So
we're on complete opposite coasts too. So it's the best part, right? Is he goes to bed when I'm kind of waking up, and it just works out. Everybody else, our whole team is in the Discord all the time. Ton of great members. Like I said, just a ton of people that are playing to help each other. Great players, beginners, novice, intermediate. It doesn't matter what you are. The Discord is built to help you become a better player. And even if you are already a good player, there's awesome projections you can test. If you use Sims, why not take these other good projections, put them into your Sims? There's other things that you can do beyond it. Somebody asked there about how does projections help you when you're playing GPPs? Multiple ways. One, if you just don't know anything and you have an idea of a few guys you want to play, you can use an optimizer to build out and see who the projections put around it. And then you can get an idea for what some lineups you like are, some correlation, some leverage, things like that. If you're unsure, you can get in the Discord and ask us about it. You can find out more. If you sign up right now for any membership, use promo code MAYO to get 10% off. You also get a 2-hour DFS process course where Hoop, Title, and myself broke down our own process for you. Roster construction, talking about how to handle late news, late swap, injuries. My success in the live finals last year, just going through and breaking down those lineups for you and showing those off where you can actually see, using these projections to win live final seats. So that this was a tiebreaker that I got into with Big Dingers. Shout out to my guy A-Train. He's the man. Hope to see him. Hope to get into King of the Beach and then see him down there for the football season coming up this week. And then won the separate playoff down in that one. And then there was another one here too. This one, 372 to 351. Again, how are projections helping you? When you have good projections that are different from the rest of the industry, there will be nights they lose. There will be nights our competitors lose, but you want good projections that are different because on nights we win, you see blowouts like this. Here's my favorite, 335 over 321 with some of the best players in the entire world. Hives, great dude. Chris, incredible player at all sports. Hishbu, the baseball live final championship, most recently on top of just crushes every sport across the board. Chipotle Addict, you know who he is. And my guy Todd, this year's fantasy golf world championship. He's in our Discord as well. All of that stuff and more that you get over on the site. So that's how projections can help you. When you have good projections that are different from the industry, you find ways to get different. Anything more on Hero that you want to mention? You were going to talk about him, 8,100.
Yeah, I interrupted, so I apologize about that. I mean, and someone mentioned it in the chat. I mean, Hero's just been jacking, Jordan Poole style, right? 20-plus shots a night. He's kind of taking that lead, taking that, maybe it's the passing of the baton of Jimmy giving all the shots to Hero, but I don't mind Hero. I mean, he's 8,100, which is kind of pricey, but for a guy that has, 50 DK point upside, I don't mind it. I probably won't have him on my main team, but I don't think it's the worst play. We'll definitely be in the player pool. And then
Hero or Butler, last one before we go to the next game.
I think Hero for sure. And then let me just touch on Kevin Love real quick. You mentioned it. I mean, at 4,300, I believe he or J Rich are going to get in the 30s tonight, right? So, I mean, obviously you're going to have to figure that out. The Washington defense is just absolutely horrendous. Hopefully we can get a sped up Heat team. And this may be, Tambo, this may be the one, because I think eventually, I mean, Washington's getting blown out on probably every single game. But if they can keep it competitive and get somebody into the 120s and keep it competitive where these guys are getting, 35 plus minutes, this may be the game that I'm going to have a lot of interest in, just based on the fact of how bad Washington is, but also how much I think Kuzma, Poole, if they get hot, I think they can keep up with this Heat team.
What was your take on Love real quick? I was looking at something for the chat. What would you say on Love?
Yeah, I like Love. I mean, generally I don't, but at 4,300, if he can get 25 minutes, I think he can get to 30, right? We have to get Love or Richardson in the 30s to be viable, so we can get the Lukas, the Jokic's, the Giannis, whatever big boys you want to play. So we got to need that 4K guy to get us 30 plus at a minimum to be competitive, to win a GPP. So it's either going to be Love or Richardson. I probably wouldn't play both of them. Would be interested to hear what your thoughts on playing both of that combo pack. $8,300 for a combo pack. I don't think I would do it, but interested to hear what you would do.
I don't think I like both. I think I want one or the other in that spot, just because I'm not as high on it. I was just going to show that off real quick for Andrew's question. If you remember, you just go into the shop, education, click NBA. If you're already logged in like I am, it'll pop up right away. You'll see the whole table of contents. The nice thing is when you press play, you can actually skip ahead. you can go right to wherever you want. Process, roster construction. You can see the Q&A from all of our members that we got for like 3 weeks to put together a bunch of questions, all my live final breakdown where I go through and show that. Move on and tell. So you can see here where I went through, I had 3 lineups into it last year. I came 8th, 29th, and 93rd, sort of hedged my way to the top. Could have had an even better night. You can download the audio if you want. And if you want to go on the site now without being a member, you can still go to shop education and see it. And you just go through and get the whole breakdown of everything that we cover, right? We talk about process, cash versus GPP, 20 max MME. If you're actually trying to become a better player, that's why this is the site for you. We break down late news, injuries, tools, projections, how to use the optimizer, why correlation is not as important in most cases with NBA, game theory leverage, late swap, and then just like tonight with Ham being the FanDuel guy, me talking about DraftKings, got all that and more covered for you over there. I was just doing this up right quick, Ham. You still have 5.6K left. Like, this was kind of your thoughts. Maybe you don't play both of Poole and Kuzma. You pick your spot, but I mean, I wouldn't hate this, I guess, is my thoughts. Like, if I was going Hero over Butler, like we said, Jay Rich at the 4K, or you could go and plug in, you could switch this around, go back here and plug it in like this. I think I had it. Yeah, you could do this. Pick your poison, but I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to do that, I wouldn't hate it. It's like a mini stack, I guess. That's all I'm saying. Like, I could see doing that, and then there's lots of money to still fill it out. So it's kind of where I'd be at with this game. Anything else you wanted to add there? If not, let's move on. Let's go to Dallas and Denver. We got Jokic at 12K. We got Luka at 13K. Talk to me about this one. And if you have anything else in the last game, go ahead. I just want to get to the next one.
Yeah, no, this game, this is one of those games. I think Dallas, I know they're undefeated, but I think it's fool's gold. I think that they get blown out. You know, Denver kind of got blown out their last game in Minnesota. This is a Jokic blow-up spot, in my opinion. Not that I'm telling people something that they don't already know, but you can almost pencil in a triple-double tonight for Jokic. 20-plus boards. I think he dominates the game tonight. He will be on my team, and if he comes at 5%, that's my spend-up tonight. I think they absolutely obliterate this Mavericks team. I'll stop there. Looks like you're wanting to say something, but I really love Denver tonight.
No, we're just on the same. I don't think it's going to be the same 5%, or you and I are both thinking the same way. That's happened before. It's worked well for us. So that's what I mentioned earlier when we were talking about Giannis. I said, like, again, I like it if no one's on him. He can make the pool, the spot, the 10-8. The minutes are scary, but that means it's scary for other people. So that's kind of my argument with that. But I said I was waiting on a pay up for later, and it wasn't going to be Luka. That's why he was not on my mind when I mentioned the others earlier. It was going to be Jokic. Don't know how the game will play out with this total and everything, with the spread, I mean. But at the same time, Jokic at home, I don't know who's stopping him besides unless there's foul trouble or something. But I mean, honestly, this looks like one of these 64-70 type games that we're going to see. The late night hammer, I talked about it earlier too, is twofold. He's the first part of it. So I definitely think Jokic is going to be on my team, my main team tonight. We'll see about some of the others, but definitely like Jokic in this spot. Now, is there other guys in this spot? And just to note, like people asked earlier about some of these Q tags, Braun, Murray, Jokic, all are probable. So it's not like they're going to be out or anything like that. And then the other thing too is, I mentioned it earlier, but our optimals, at least right now, are showing a setup where you're seeing these balanced builds. And so again, you can go Jokic and then balance it from there pretty quickly. Like 2 8K guys turns into Jokic and Jay Rich that we just talked about. There's your same 16K spend. But at the same time, is that how, everyone's going to go? I don't think. It looks like, at least from now, when I read a bunch of them, it didn't look like as many were getting Jokic on there. And even still, you had like Giannis pop more because projections like him more. So even though he's not getting way up there in ownership yet, it is still showing getting more of him. So is there any more thoughts, other spots in this game, or is it just Jokic for you and move on?
Yeah, so it not too big of a deal, but Maxi Kleber has been ruled out of this game. He's a center, so he would be the one. You said, who's going to stop Jokic? I'm with you. I don't think anybody is. I don't think Derek Lively is either, but just to throw that out there, that Kleber has been ruled out. And just looking at, Lively's last game, and we have him projected not very well, but 5,700. I think our projection's a little light on him. I mean, can he get to 35, 40? Maybe. I mean, honestly, I don't want this game to blow out, right? Because I want Jokic to play 35 minutes. But I think it is going to be a blowout. I still think he gets a triple-double. I mean, going back to last week when we talked about Sabonis getting 60, I mean, how many points do we need at 12K in order for it to matter on Jokic, would you say?
I just don't try and do that. Like we've talked about this plenty of times in the Discord. It sucks if it happens, but I mean, even this was a bad one at 30 and he puts up 53. It's not going to cut it. It's not ideal at 12K. I get it. I'm just saying, but like he could have done more. So anything can happen, but he still is a guy that can get the big scores, and that's what you're playing it for. So I don't build for these blowouts like others do. And on a 7-game slate, it's even tougher for me to imagine doing that. On like a 3-game slate, that's where I could see more merit to it, right? Because then people are like, okay, our guy JC, if this, then that. That's the crew you're talking about. Then I get it, but I just don't do it, man. Like the stuff I'm playing in, especially too, nobody else really is. But in the large field tournaments, when people want to do it, I guess it's no different than when they want to play a $20 Millie Maker in football or a Thursday night football showdown slate and play a backup court. Like if you want to try stuff, try it. It's not quite the same, so I get it. But for me, just don't try and do it as much. And usually I have other plays that I can go to instead. And it's roster construction and leverage and how I'm setting things up that are ways I get different before going to that. So I'm not going to even think about that. I'm going to play Jokic and hope that he gets me 65 plus. That's really what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And Derek Jones, just a note on that. Somebody asked about Derek Jones. Again, these are earlier not earlier, like once we started the show, give or take. These are from 3:49 Eastern. So you can see that, but or it might have been 2:49 Eastern, 3:49 my time. But just to say it, like Derek Jones at the time was projected for more minutes. So yeah, it was almost 3:00 Eastern when we did this one. So we'll get another one here shortly. The way our projections work, they're updated plenty throughout the day. They're updated, set the way that it's set up is they're going to update when there's news. And then on top of it, they're going to update really aggressively as we get closer to lock, the more changes as lineups come out, all that stuff. But tonight we've got kind of a staggered slate, at least a little bit, right? 8:30, then 9, 9, 9, 11, 11. And this might be my time again. I always apologize for that. I think it's 7 Eastern, but just to show it, like the setup here is great because we'll have updates leading up to this because probably these first 2 games, that'll be good. Then we'll get the update for the 9 o'clock games on my screen here. And then the updates late once we get the lineups for those games. So Derek Jones will not pop like this if he's not starting and his minutes get docked to 24 or something like that. So just keep that in mind. We'll see how it all shakes out though. Just example on one player, but I don't have much else here. Won't be getting to Luka at 13K. If he breaks the slate, he does. But I don't see also enough value across the board on all these games to fit them both to get like the Jokic, Luka back and forth where they just go off. And I think there'll be other guys that hit 45 to 50 or 40 to 50, I'll say, make it a better range of much better point per dollar that end up filling out those lineups. And that's why we're seeing optimals that pop with very balanced builds. So let's move on. Final game. Go ahead.
Sorry, we didn't talk Kyrie. So I'm assuming I don't have any interest in Kyrie.
That's why I didn't. I mean, He's been playing all day. We knew about this. He said, they said he's going to play, but again, if you get there, go there. This is like more where I trusted of, like I said, we'll see what it looks like, but at almost 10K for Kyrie, it's just not going to make my stuff. And this is where I do trust the projections a lot more. When I'm paying this price, I'm looking for someone that's going to project a lot better than that. So that's just how I look at it. Everybody's different, but that's why we use this time to show it off on the site. And last game, let's get to it. Memphis, Portland. I mentioned earlier about the late night hammer. Look at these values. The values are just popping off the board here, Ham. So what are we doing with this game? Shaedon Sharpe is going to be – so Shaedon Sharpe is probable. Anthony Simons was already out and going to be out, but also Scoot is out. We've been trying to make Scoot work for a few games here now. It hasn't seemed to do his thing, hasn't seemed to work out. He was kind of getting there last game and then went out. So you just can't win with this one. But we got Grant, Ayton, Brogdon, Sharp, bunch of guys here popping. What are you doing with this game? And then talk about the Memphis side as well.
Yeah, to me, Sharp, who we were on last Friday night, over Grant and those other people, Sharp would be my favorite one. Second one for me would be Malcolm Brogdon. I just wish he would play more minutes. I think he's, probably one of the better players on their team, but he hasn't reached much past 30 minutes this year. So Sharp number 1 for me, Malcolm Brogdon number 2. I don't think I'm going to play Ayton or Grant. I'm just not a fan of either one of them. Would be interested to hear what you have to say about that. Bane and Jackson, goodness gracious, 8.5 and 8.8. Those are big boy price tags for those two, but they're that price for a reason, right? I mean, Bane's shooting it every time down the court. I feel like Jaren Jackson, one of those other guys that can do it all and get you points from a variety of different ways. I just like Chet at a much lower price than I would Jaren Jackson Jr. Outside of that, I don't really see anybody on this Grizzlies team that I'm enamored with. But I would love to hear your take on this game. But Sharp and Brogdon for me from the Trailblazers.
I was going to bring this one up. I was already moving to the other side. Our guy Newens is in the chat. Shout out to Jordan. Big body David Roddy, man. This guy is incredible. The movement he's got for the size that he is phenomenal just to watch it out there. And 3,900, again, not projecting well to be a tournament play, but I think Aldama, right, was moved to doubtful throughout the day, and now it looks like he's going to be out. So when you see that, there's a possibility. I know we've liked our guy Zaire in the past as a fill-in option for certain guys. Obviously, you mentioned those high price tags on Jackson and Bane. But if I'm going to fill up my lineup, and I am going to do this in some with these guys, I'm going to get guys from the other side. It's going to be one or the other for me. And right now, the projections really like Jackson. I'm filling out this game with some of these guards. Like, I think you could play even Brogdon and Sharp because the price, again, it's kind of like the same price that we looked at earlier. It's maybe they eat a little bit of each other's lunch, but at these price tags, I'm not as concerned. It's if you get two guys like when we used to see it last season with like Jason Tatum is 10-8 and Jaylen Brown is 9,700. Like, you got to pick your spot. You can set up a rule if you want in that position. This year is totally different, bringing Drew and KP in. But just to look at it from this perspective, I'm okay getting a few guys in this game. And I kind of like them in the order you said them. Like, even though these guys are popping more, I kind of have a little bit more love for Brogdon and Sharp, one of Jackson or Bane. And then, like I said, maybe you could take a shot. Like, maybe I play this. Maybe I play, let me do this for a second. Smart, you liked him last game too. His price is kind of up there, but if you do this, even more money than we had before in the Miami-Washington spot. So let me ask you that real quick. Between like a Brogdon, Sharp, Bane, whether or not you include Roddy is fine. And then like a Hero. Who else was it for Washington that we were playing? Kuzma.
I mean, I was going to ask you. I mean, Love's 4.3. Jay Rich is 4K. I mean, who are you taking between those two and big body David Roddy?
Jay Rich still probably, especially if he's going to be in there, right? Like you said, for the minutes, then I would expect that. But I think Roddy's definitely a fine pivot, but I prefer Roddy more in something like a stack like this. Even though it's basketball, we don't have to correlate or stack. I'm just saying I prefer him to be a part of a back and forth here that's causing him to be out there and get stuff. So I don't hate it, but and then someone asked about Kamara, the Kamara of the NBA streets. 19, 13, 23, getting some minutes in there. Do you like him and anybody else in this game that you want to talk about? Thibault, anybody else down here?
I'm not as enamored with this game as I think you are, which is totally fine. I think Portland's going to play a little bit slower, going back to my theme. They're at home. I think they'll try to slow it down. I think Bane and Jackson are going to do the majority of the damage. The main game I'm focusing in on is going to be that Miami-Washington game. I think there's better value. Richardson's going to play, 8 to 12 more minutes than Roddy. Same thing with Kevin Love. So that's kind of where I'm going. I'm not as high on this game as you are, I don't think.
Yeah, throw your questions in there if you guys have any more. I'm just going to see this real quick. What was I looking at here? Like, I forget who. There was one other guy I thought we were throwing into this. Maybe it was this, and then we said maybe you could play only one of them. But yeah, this was about 5.6K left per play. And with 4 spots, and whether you take, you take out Jay Rich, it goes down. So it's just kind of one of those things. But we were saying you could pick and choose that sort of 4 guys versus the 4 guys we looked at over here. You could load this one up, like we said, right? Like, you could definitely do something like this. I'll even use Zaire. I mean, you're still right in that 5.6K range. So it was, now let me try to remember this. It was Hero, Jay Rich, Kuzma, and Poole. Let's get the chat thoughts. This is the 4v4. Hero, Jay Rich, Kuzma, Poole, or Brogdon, Sharp, and then Desmond Bane with Zaire or something like that. What side, would you be on for that? Because this one here, let's see it too. So 139 is the projection. It's the other thing you can play around with. That's why I love this stuff. 139 was the projection versus 132. So our projections strongly like it. That's actually a significant gap there between it. And the other thing too is, like, I know people say, oh, Memphis and Portland suck. Like, I don't care for fantasy. That's awesome. That's 2 teams that suck. They make mistakes. The pace goes up, all that stuff. Again, our projections love the other side. I was just curious if people like this more because you've got more names in there that you feel pretty good about. Maybe not Poole. People aren't loving him right now and the price is up, but it's like Kuzma, Poole, Hero, J. Rich pops for value. I think you'd think that people would like that side a little bit more. But on that Memphis, what's that?
The chat doesn't like it. Sean and Jordan, they're going one. I don't see a world where Jordan Poole, Kuzma side outscores that other one. I'm taking that one all day, every day, even though it's 7 points, almost 8 points lower in projection.
We do a little friendly bet on the show. We can do it. Those four, we'll see. We'll do it offline, but I think that's what we'll do. We'll work out a little 4v4. I'll take the projections and side with them. You could take the other side. We'll see if Zaire slides in there, because that would be 23 versus Roddy 18. I don't know. It's your birthday. I'll feed you one. Let me tell you, let's just make it so we can make the bet on the show. I'll take Roddy, because even though the projection drops slightly, it gets closer to yours. So I'm going to take Roddy. I'm going to take Bain. I'm going to take Sharp and Brogdon. And it's only 2 points off of yours. And you'll take it with me, right? Because you don't care about those 2 points.
No, I'll give you two, actually.
All right. So let's just do a $100 friendly bet. We'll do it. You got the other side. I'm going to go the projection side. The chat is just, these are very loyal people. They're just going with what the projections say. But Dustin says, do you like Hardaway with Irving back? No. I thought that was actually really sharp. Some guys in our Discord got to him the other night and mentioned it in the Discord. Like, if you're not doing this, do that. They got him at like 4%.
I think D-Dry had him on his winner.
Yes. It's your birthday, Ham, and you can do whatever you want. Cry if you want to when you got to send me that money, but we'll see. Any final thoughts from you, man, before we get out of here?
Yeah, no, I think we talked through it pretty well. Give me some light. I'm definitely going to have Chet. So that's one little freebie I'll give the people. Chet Holmgren's going to be on my main team. I really like Chet tonight. Hopefully we can keep his ownership down, sub 10%. Not that it matters, but give me Chet, give me Draymond. Let's roll.
Yeah, this is something Ham just touched on as well. Raul comes in and says, Roddy is so bad play. Yeah, I'm with Luke. I do prefer the Zaire side for sure, but it's Ham's birthday, so I gave him a better projection in the bet just so we could keep the bet on the show. I did make it the second time around with Zaire. This is not go off of you playing Stars and Scrubs. No, the way it works is these are our projections. Then it does the point per dollar for the setup here. You can see the point per dollar, and then it does the value as well. So it's just, we rank it by that just to have a look. You can sort it by points per dollar as well. You could go break it down off of that, but appreciate all you guys watching. Aaron says that he's mentioned it a couple times. We got to trust our guy, Aaron Davis. We appreciate your support and watching. Says Kamara is the sneaky play of the night. Imagine Kamara gets the job done in the NBA streets tonight and not as chalk on Sunday for the NFL Week 9 slate, because he's going to be very popular there as well. Alvin Kamara, that is. But I definitely think it's going to be a fun one tonight. 7 games. We always say that's the sweet spot. If you're not a member already, get over to shipitnation.com. Use promo code MAYO to check it out. You will get the course included. You will get all the sports, NFL, NBA, PGA, MMA, NHL, MLB just wrapped up, but the other 5 sports, content, projections, tools, and then get in that Discord community. It's always a good time in there. We got lots of good things going on. That's going to do it for this one, guys. For Ham, happy birthday. Myself, ToeTagginTambo. Let's ship it.